Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Tiffany. I am a Christian booktuber at this point, and today I'm going to be doing my monthly faith talk, and I just want to share because I love continuing to share and just tell people about how Jesus has changed my life, and that's what today's is all about. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was smut. And if you don't know what smut is, it's basically like, it's about books. And it's like books with very spicy books, very pornographic books, books with sexual content in them. However you want to put it. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of these books, like a lot. Probably started with like in middle school when I was like 13 or 14. And obviously that's something that just carried with me because I obviously, like I said, I love reading and I love books. And there was a point where I literally had to donate every single book I owned and give it away because the Lord convicted me about reading it and how it wasn't good for me. And the verse I wanted to share for this one was Philippians 4:8. And it says, "And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing, fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, and right, and pure, and lovely, and admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise." That can be applied to so many things. If whatever you're doing or whatever you're consuming doesn't match that verse, or it doesn't match the fruits of the spirit, if it isn't like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, like all those things, and it doesn't spark all those things in you, do you really need to be consuming it? You know, because like I said before, like I have like a lot of books. This is really a booktube channel, and the Lord really has redeemed the books in my life. And there are so many Christian fiction books out there. There's so many books out there that don't have sexual content in them, that are clean, and there's even some that are Christian. There's a lot that are Christian, and the Lord really just opened that door for me and just revealed all those things to me, is that I didn't have to give up completely my love of reading, which was so kind. I love how kind the Lord is in that. And now this channel is literally dedicated to that. And it's funny how something started off evil and how the Lord made it for good. And now look, I have like a whole YouTube channel and everything. Like isn't that not like so cool? And another thing I wanted to say was just how I really had to be obedient and lean on the Lord and trust Him. And that's what all these things that I'm going to talk about because I don't want to like sound repetitive, but through all these things, I have grown closer to the Lord because I had to lean on Him. I had to trust Him when things just didn't seem right. I had to really lean into the fact and the verse that Jesus is the way. He is the way, and He is the truth, and He is the life. And I had to really lean on that to let all these things go, which in the end brought me closer to Him, which goes just another testimony of the Lord turning things that were made for evil for good. If you're struggling with this one in particular, I did make a whole video talking about my whole testimony about letting go of those type of books. And like I said, my channel is really dedicated to books the opposite of that and how you can still have fun reading and love reading, and what you can read and what you cannot read. The Holy Spirit really does guide you and lead you. And like I said, reading can still be very fun. But yeah, the second thing I had to let go of to grow closer to the Lord was maladaptive daydreaming. And this is something that's really just not talked about a lot in general. I even looked it up, and it's even like literally like a mental health issue. And I am no therapist, counselor, or nothing, but I do know Jesus, and I know Jesus helped me stop living in my head and living in a reality that I created in my head and living in my real life. I talked about this a little bit in like literally my most popular video about letting go of fantasy, and it was just something that was kind of like a coping mechanism for me, and it was something that I used to escape just like books used to be also an escape for me. Books and maladaptive daydreaming kind of went hand in hand, but it was all just like a coping mechanism and an escape because I hated my life. And when I came to the Lord, I really did have to learn to love my life and what the Lord has done in my life even before I gave my life to him, because all that led me to him. And that's the greatest gift ever, is having Jesus in your life. I like to describe maladaptive daydreaming as just living in your head to the extreme. Like living so much in your head that you are seriously dissatisfied with the reality that you're living in. Like, of course, we all like daydream a little, like when we get like bored and stuff like that. When it comes to the point where you're actually creating an entirely different reality in your head, and that is what makes you happy. And like I said, it's a coping mechanism. That's when it gets to like scratch your head, like, hold on now. The Lord's like, what about reality? And I said a lot in that video. It's just like God's reality is much better than anything we can make up in our heads. Anything we can make up in our heads. Like, I think about the relationship that I'm in now, and a big part of me daydreaming was because I wasn't in a relationship, and I would make up scenarios about me being in a relationship, being with a guy, what it'd be like. And it's so different than actually being in a relationship, a good godly relationship, and it's better than anything I could ever dreamed or made up in my head. So that just goes again to just like saying God's way is better. The verse I had was 2 Corinthians 10:5. We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ. Training your thoughts and training your mind and submitting them to Christ and submitting them to the word of what God has said. It also just pulls you away from God, because God is reality. Like, whether we believe it or not, like, this is God's reality. There is freedom from it. And like I said, this is something that I feel like is not talked about a lot in the Christian community, because it's like maybe weird or whatever. But yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll say there's freedom in Jesus from it. There's freedom, like God can do anything. And the next thing I would say that helped grow me, that I had to let go of to grow closer to God, was carnal music. And I would just like to emphasize that when I say like I had to let go of these things, means I still have to fight the urge to do these things every day. Like, there's a temptation every day for me to go and order a book. Oh, it just has a little spice in it. Oh, like it has smut in it. Oh, but I heard that book is really good. I want to go buy that book. That's a temptation every day. Every day is a temptation for me to daydream. Just like it's a temptation for me to go and listen to music that I know I should not be listening to. Like I said, there's a big difference between secular music and carnal music. Carnal music is literally music that glorifies the things that Jesus died for and romanticizes it. And it was something that was just one of those things that was just really hard at first. 1 Corinthians 10:23. You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. Don't be concerned for your own good, but for the good of others. I actually love that verse. But when it comes to like music, people really don't think it's a big deal. People think a lot of things aren't a big deal, but just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be beneficial for you. It's like, yes, I can listen to Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion or freaking Black Bear like I used to listen to, all that music. It's like I could, because like it's just music. But I know it's not, and I know what music does to my head, and I know why I used to like everything is kind of like connected. Now that I'm like thinking about how like all these sins were like connected to each other, like I would listen to this like carnal music while I'm reading this smutty book, and then I would and then I would start daydreaming to this carnal music. Like it all like kind of ties together. And there was just like a time in my life where I just like at one point I had just like go like everything like like I can do nothing. But like I said, like God is so good and gracious and kind that there are alternatives. And do you have to completely give up secular music? No, but it really does help finding people who make music to glorify God and music that you like to listen to. it really does help to find that. And a lot of people don't like Christian rap. I like Christian rap. I have a whole playlist that I listen to when I'm in the mood to listen to rap, and I actually enjoy it. There's a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people that don't, but like, you literally have to find the artist that you like. You have to find what you like. And I've been finding a lot of Christian pop artists and Christian R&B artists. Like, R&B is my main genre, and I feel like I've struggled the most finding Christian R&B artists that I like, funny enough, because like I said, like, that was my genre before BC days. Like, BC days, that was my genre. But you really just have to put more effort into it and ask God to help you. There's so much power in asking God to help you, and I feel like we really do forget that God can help us. And like I said, that brings more intimacy between you and the Lord, and it draws you closer to him. Truly, it really does. Truly, truly. Like, I am my testimony. Like, ask the Lord for help, draw near to him. He will draw near to you. And for this next one, I'm just gonna say Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And for this one, I could have said a lot of things, but I basically wrote down like my plans and / control because I have been so humbled in like the past 2 years in my relationship with God, with planning things out and wanting things to go a certain way and wanting to be in a certain place, and God has just told me, no, this is where you're gonna be, this is where you're gonna work, this is where I need you at. And it has really humbled me in the craziest way. And I have, like, if I had to pick one of these that has really grown me closer to the Lord, it is this one, because it's like my life. I've really had to lean on the Lord through it. It was like an everyday type of thing. I even picked up like prayer journaling. If you've ever done that, you should try and do that. Like, when I had to work at the bank, in order for me to survive working at the bank, I had to journal like every morning. I was just like, write down whatever I was saying. Like, even if I just like hated this morning and I just like went and cried in the bathroom, like, I just wrote it down. Just talking to the Lord. And the Lord really got me out of that and delivered it. And I see what it was for. Like, I really do see what it was for and why I needed to go through what I went through. But at the time, it was really, really hard. So I've really learned these past couple of years to lean on the Lord and lean on his plans and trust. Trust is such a big thing following Jesus, because it really will, what you want and how you react to the things going on in your life really does show how much you trust the Lord. Even with things like grief and people passing away in my life, I've had to really lean on the Lord and draw near to him so he can give me the peace that he only gives, that surpasses all understanding, that doesn't make me feel like, oh, why did this have to happen right now? Why is this happening? This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. Like, we really do have to lean on him, especially as something like grief. I can imagine like not having the Lord, going through grief, because he really does give you peace. And it's so crazy, because like, it's so crazy that I'm okay. It's so crazy that I'm okay and I don't like cry in my bed every day. But it's okay if you're not okay at first, though. But the Lord will be with you through all of it. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one that builds trust. The one I just said, building trust, trusting in the Lord, leaning on his understanding, not my own, trusting in his plans, not my own. And just one more thing I really want to say is that the Lord really does have good plans for us, even if it's not your plans, if it's not our plans. Like, we can come up with the best plan, we could have a good heart about it, like great motives, but if it's not the Lord's plan, then it's not the Lord's plan. And I really had to learn that. Like, it's just like, oh, I want to do all this, it's so good, it's so great, but if it is not what the Lord wants for you, you have to suck it up and be like, okay, this is not what the Lord wants for me. And that's so humbling. Like, it's so humbling. My voice is starting to go out. But the next thing I want to talk about was hurrying. I recently made a vlog about how God was telling me to slow down in my life, because I just felt like I was just trying to hurry up in her. Like, there's a lot of things going on in my life right now, and I'm really trying to get to the next stage of my life, the next step, the next place. Because obviously I'm working at a job I don't want to work at. I'm living with my parents. I don't want to live with my parents. Like, there's a lot of things going on, and I'm just like, I'm ready to get to the next stage, and I want to work hard, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. But the Lord has really been telling me to slow down and enjoy where I'm at, because things won't always be like how they are right now. And I don't pay rent right now. I have a job right now that is not, like, it's not unserious, but it's not as serious. And I know that I've worked a job, I've worked at a bank that is serious. I've lived outside my parents' house before, and I know how it is to pay rent. So it's just like all those experiences, like I said, like, are really humbling to me now, and it's really making me grateful, even though I wouldn't have chose this for myself. I can look back and see and be like, okay, I can see the benefits of this. I can see the benefits of this. And there are so many benefits of slowing down and being quiet and listening to the Lord. And one of my favorite books of all time is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. I think about this book randomly, sometimes daily, at least once a month. I think about this book and how it really is amazing just to slow down. John Mark Comer, he is a Christian, but I would literally give this book to anybody that I know. I would give this book to a believer, non-believer, dog, a cat. Like, just tell them, like, slow down. And, like, the Lord is not going to speak to you in busyness. He's going to speak to you in the quiet. And if you don't sit down and be quiet with the Lord, then you're not going to be able to hear him, because you got so much going on. But you need to sit and quiet and listen to the Lord. But yeah, I have had to let go most recently, just being in this hurry mentality, trying to get to the next thing. Like, the year is flying by all by itself. I don't have to I don't have to wish for it. And that just, like, reminds me of that verse in Matthew, was just saying, like, tomorrow has enough worries for itself. Like, the world is gonna spin, the world's gonna go around, it's gonna be the next day. Like, before you guys blink, it's gonna be Christmas again. Like, that's just how the years work, and I don't need to just be freaking out every day trying to hurry up and get somewhere, and just enjoy where I'm at right now. So, and the next thing is something that I don't think is talked about enough, and that is just being insecure. And it took me forever to actually realize that being insecure about myself is a sin, and thinking too highly of yourself is a sin. Because when you think about being insecure, you don't really think about, oh, this is a sin, or this is prideful. But insecurity really is pride. Yes, insecurity is pride, because you are thinking way too highly of yourself, and you're thinking you're way too important. And it's also a sin that you're saying that you're not beautifully and wonderfully made, when the Lord literally said you're beautiful and wonderfully made. He put that in the Bible exactly for you to look in the mirror and not to hate yourself because you don't look like someone else. And that can also go back to the verse in Galatians talking about looking for the approval of man and not the approval of God. See, it's just like it all is put together. And, like, this is probably the biggest thing I'm working on, because it's really like instinct. Even now that I give my life to Christ, it's still something that I'm working on, and I'm constantly having to remind myself of who I am, and who I am in Christ now, and who God has made me to be. And it doesn't matter what someone might say, whether they say I'm beautiful or whether they say I'm ugly. It doesn't matter, because I'm not looking for the approval of man. I have the approval of God. Yeah, that's all that really matters. And we should learn to be confident in the Lord, in whatever we do. And we shouldn't think that we need something or someone else besides the Lord. And we shouldn't put ourselves in positions. Insecurity can lead you to put yourself in rooms and places that you were never supposed to be in the first place, because you think so little of yourself. You think that's okay, but it was never okay. And yeah, that also can be a whole video, but I'm gonna leave it there. And the last thing I wanted to talk about that I had to let go of was FOMO. And this is something that's recently, well, I wouldn't say recently, but this is something that recently has come back, I guess, to pop up in my life. And I think it's because of Coachella And as someone who used to have Bieber fever, seeing Coachella and seeing Justin Bieber, I thought about, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if one day I can go to Coachella? And then the Holy Spirit was like, excuse me? Never that. Never. That should never be something on my bucket list, on my summer things to do. No, ma'am. I just know how grieved my spirit would be if I went to a place like that where it's just so anti things of the Lord. Like, yeah, I'm not the type of person to be like, yes, we need to go to in places where the devil is there and we need to be the light. Like, no, you're gonna get sucked in. You're gonna get sucked in. Like, let's be serious. But I'm not gonna get into that. But FOMO is a real thing, and it can happen so easily, especially with social media and all these things going on with people's life. We were never meant to know everybody's opinions like this. We were never meant to like have everybody's business and see what everybody has going on so much. That's why it's very important that you limit your social media intake and just limit who you follow. And if someone is making you feel like your life is supposed to be a certain way and make you feel insecure about your life, then that's when you need to hit the unfollow button. And there's no shame in that, especially for me. Like, I've done that before. There's no absolute shame in that, and that is something you need to talk to the Lord about and why you feel that way. But at the end of the day, the Lord has made us to be set apart, so it's gonna be so much easier for us, because I'm talking to myself too, when we just come to the realization that we're not gonna be doing the same things that the people in the world are doing. Like, it's gonna be different. Some things are gonna be so much harder. And it's going to be hard to make friends. It's going to be hard to be in certain rooms. Like, certain stuff is not going to be available to us. It's just like, there's just certain things you're just not going to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, we run the race to get the prize of Jesus Christ. And we focus on Jesus, because that is what matters. Not what everybody in this world is doing, because this world is passing away. Like Jesus said, this world is passing away and Jesus is coming back. So continue being set apart for the Lord. And I pray that the Lord puts people in your life and in my life that make us have that joy of missing out, as they said on TikTok before. I saw somebody make a TikTok saying, like, not the fear of missing out, the joy of missing out. Because there's joy in saying no to things for the Lord. There's joy in being obedient to the Lord. And there's joy in knowing that when this is all over, I get to go up into heaven and give Jesus a big hug. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really did enjoy talking about Jesus today. And no matter what it is, whether you've been through something I mentioned in this video or not, whatever it is that you're too scared to give up, I promise you the Lord is worth it, and he will 10 times give you something 10 times better, because that's just who he is. That's just who he is. So yeah, share this with someone who needs it. I love you guys very, very much, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.